Hi everyone, Werner here. Welcome to another video for Simon Says Stamp. Today I'm going to be taking the Rainbow is My Favorite Color stamp set from the June 2021 card kit, as well as these 4 ink cubes that are included in the kit. And I'm going to create a set of 4 clean and simple, very easy cards. If you are new to stamping or you don't have a lot of supplies, these cards are going to be great. I'm stamping onto some classic Crest cardstock from Neenah. This is a Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock, and I'm starting with one of the rainbow sets. There are 3 different types of rainbows you can get from this stamp set, and this is just the first type. This is the smallest rainbow. I'm using that kind of red shade from the ink cube set. This is the color Hot Lips. And if any of you have been stamping for a number of years, you might know when this happens, when you have a brand new stamp set and you stamp it and it's kind of splotchy. It's just because the stamp is brand new and it's really slick. So go ahead and just double stamp that for a more solid stamp. And also just having a little bit of ink on the surface, even if you've cleaned it off completely, seasons the stamp and you get a better stamped impression. I've positioned that second curved line for my rainbow. This is the color Sunshine. It's more of a golden yellow, so it bridges that gap between red and green without having to have an orange in there. I'm going to go to the third rainbow shape. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. I'm going to the third rainbow shape, and this color is Jellybean. It's a nice, bright citrus green. It's nice and happy for her rainbow. And the last color I'm using is Audrey Blue. So these are the 4 colors of ink that I'm going to be using for my rainbows on all 4 of these cards. And I'm only going to be adding a couple other ink colors just to finish off the card designs. The first ink color I'm going to be using right now to stamp some clouds. And these clouds are going to go at the end of the rainbows and kind of finish off the scenes. So I've got all the stamps from the stamp set that are cloud shapes. I'm going to stamp them twice in smoke ink. And once again, I'm stamping them twice because it's a brand new stamp set and these stamps are really slick and they just need a little bit of seasoning to help them get a really good impression. So I'm going to stamp the clouds twice, and then I really wanted a third small cloud. So after I have this first big grouping of clouds stamped, I'm going to come back in and after I've cleaned off one of the small stamps, I just stamped it there at the bottom once again. And I stamped that twice just so I would get a really nice impression. So I'll set those aside and I'll cut them out later. So the second type of rainbow that you can get from this stamp set are straight rainbow stripes. So you're going to be repeating this straight border stamp however many times you like to create a rainbow. So I'm once again starting out with Hot Lips, and I'm going to stamp this directly down onto my white cardstock. Now, if you want to go through a different method for all of this stamping for the straight line, you definitely could. You could start with the color on the far right and then just move your cardstock. You could do it that way, but I found that I had a little more precision by cleaning that stamp and positioning it over my cardstock and then changing colors. So I'm cleaning that off, putting it down to the green now, and then I'll clean off the green, move the stamp, apply the Audrey Blue, and then stamp that 4th color. And that gives me some rainbow stripes. So the third type of rainbow that you can get out of this stamp set is actually a very wide curved line. So it can go from side to side on your card. So there are 4 stamps with all these curved lines so that you can get a better precision placement on your card design. So it is a little bit tricky. It's much easier to use a MISTI stamping tool like this so that you can make sure that you have the curved line just perfect and positioned just so that you can get a really good rainbow image. So I'm stamping that in Hot Lips twice, and then I'm going to very carefully position the next stripe over, and it's almost like it looks like it's right on top of the red. It's like right next to it. So I'm going to be using that sunshine color once again, and I'll stamp that down. And I'll stamp this twice. You can see it's a really, really splotchy. I'll stamp it twice, just like I did with the other times. So I went ahead and stamped the green, and I stamped the blue as well until I had a nice solid rainbow image. So I'm going to use this same set of stamps, the really wide curved rainbows, to create another version, another card using those stamps. I'm going to this time put my cardstock up at the top corner of my MISTI, and I'm having that really wide curved line go from the bottom edge of the card to the top right corner. And I love that this stamp is so big that it can span that entire area. So I went through and stamped all of these colors once again. They're not perfectly positioned. They don't have to be. I just wanted the colors on there. So now that I have all my rainbows stamped, I'm going to set all those aside and bring back that sheet of clouds. I'm trimming them out with some scissors. I'm leaving just a little bit of a line on the outer edge. And I did this because I don't have the coordinating dies, but the coordinating die set does cut out all the cloud shapes and the smaller rainbow. So it gives you like, the right size for where that rainbow would be. I used some Altenew foam tape, and I just cut it down into some smaller pieces, and I put that directly down onto my card front. Put the foam tape underneath the clouds and then put it onto my card front. And these are just sized perfectly to finish off the smaller rainbow. All right, so I got this card basically ready for a greeting. I'm going to set that aside and apply some more clouds to our straight line rainbow card. I've got the medium cloud and also a small cloud. And then for that large cloud, I've put foam tape just on the top half of the cloud. I'm applying it to the bottom of my card design, and then I'm using a ruler. This is actually a cut-a-line ruler from My Sweet Petunia, and a craft knife to cut off that bottom edge. So now that I have all the clouds applied to my card designs, I now can position and stamp my greetings. I'm going to be using 4 different greetings from the stamp set. This first one says, "I love you for who you are." Stamped that in VersaFine Onyx black ink. I'm going to use that same black ink for all of these. This next one says, "You are my rainbow." You are my rainbow on a cloudy day. And then this third one says, "Rainbow is my favorite color." And the very last card design says, "You make me happy." I think that's what it says. Pretty sure that's what it says. "You make me happy." Yeah. So such fun card designs. Very, very simple. I noticed I had a little bit of ink on the corner, on the edge of this card design. So I'm going to use a Tombow sand eraser and show you how to take that ink off some white cardstock. I'm applying pretty good pressure to this sand eraser, and I had to erase for, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds to a minute. And I checked every few seconds to see if the color was gone, and then finally I had sanded off enough of the surface that it was gone. I'm using some of that same cardstock. This is Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 110-pound cardstock, and I've scored that at 5.5 to create top folding card bases. So I'm using my bone folder and just creasing those, getting everything folded and ready for my card fronts to be adhered. Now, if you wanted to save a little bit of cardstock, you could have done all of the stamping directly onto the card base. But since these are so simple, and they're very clean cards, I decided to work on them separately. I didn't want to work on the card bases themselves, and adhering the card design to the front will give it a little bit more weight and make it just feel a little bit more substantial. So even though it's a very clean and simple card, it's got a little bit of heft to it, which I think is really nice. So I adhered all of my card designs to the front of each of the cards, and then I have 4 very easy, clean and simple cards to create using the card kit. You can get all the supplies that I've used today down below in the video description. They are available at simonsthestamp.com. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you in another video soon.